So I'm going to quickly show you how to graph your bud burst data. So we have some tabs along the bottom here. I'm just going to jump to the sample graph. This is the kind of graph we're going to make. We're going to make a scatter plot and add a trend line to see if we can find the pattern in bud bursts for the spring. So this is an example from the fall of leaf drop. Our data is from the spring. I'm going to pop back to the Red Oak Data tab. And first data table is the data from the PhenoCam. And to graph that data, I'm going to select the data that's in columns B and C. So I want the year and the Julian day of the 10% bud burst. And remember, scientists use the Julian day rather than the date because it's easier to compare from year to year. So once I highlight or select my data, I go to the Insert menu and I choose Chart. And it may default to scatter plot. If not, remember over here on the right side under Setup and Chart Type, I could switch to scatter chart if it doesn't automatically suggest or select a scatter chart. But it did select scatter chart, so the next step is to go to Customize and Series and tell Google Sheets that we would like a trend line. So I just check that box and there's my trend line. Now the last step would be to make a better title for this graph. This is not a good title. And so if I go up, I can go to Chart and Axis Titles, Title Text, click in that box, delete what the computer chose for a title and type in a better title. And I'll let you decide what would be a better title for this graph. Once you've fixed your title, you can maybe shrink the graph and move it over because we have a second graph to make. We now need to graph the bud burst data from our schoolyard. So we have the PhenoCam already done. We're going to pop over to this other data table and do the same thing. We're going to highlight or select the data we want to graph. Again, the two columns, year and Julian day. So these are the Julian days of a 10% bud burst on the red oak tree in our schoolyard. Once I highlight my data, I go to Insert, Chart. Again, it should pre-select scattered chart. If not, you can click, scroll, and choose scatter from the graph types or chart types. We pop over to Customize. We open up the series and go down and check trend line. And again, we've got to go back up and choose a better title. So we're going to open up Chart and Axis Titles, find the title text, delete what's there, and type in a better title. And again, I want you to choose the chart title. I want to see what you remember from our lesson on choosing a good title for your graph. I'm just shrinking it now and moving it over because I want to now compare and see if I can see the pattern from the PhenoCam over here on the left and compare that to what was happening in our schoolyard. And once you're done with your graphs, you're going to go to Google Doc and do some writing about the patterns that you're seeing. What does the data show us? What's the story that it tells?